Well, but I think the
amazing.
fullness of who we are changes depending on our feelings, our experiences, and even our traumas. And so I think that can be very misleading. Like, what does it mean? You mentioned soulful desire versus like a surface desire. And I think how do you discern between the two? And the reality is our hearts can mislead us.
My heart
we can be misled.
And it's the way you discern.
And that's why moral realities matter.
No, I think each person has to discern for themselves.
If we just make up all of our morality all the time, we're inevitably going to hurt other people.
What if I make my non-monogamy the societal rule? You have to be non-monogamous.
You have a chaotic and broken society. And a lot of miserable
civilization
children
would collapse.
I love it. That's how we feel about monogamy. When you try to force your values on someone else, people will cheat, people will lie, people feel trapped.
I don't think Chase would want to force anybody to get married. Absolutely not.
Absolutely
100%. Not. Marriage should be freely chosen. So no one should be forced to be monogamous in that sense. But I do think we have a responsibility, and that involves the choices we make with whether or not we have sex. And that's a choice that we make. We're not doomed to have sex or not. We can choose, no, I'm not going to have sex because I know that there's consequences that can result from that.
Like really good consequences. Like
STIs,
or really bad
or pregnancy that you're not expecting.
Orgasms.
Exactly.
Like there's so much good. We only focus on the bad because we're so
Pregnancies
afraid of
that you're not expecting, fatherless homes, broken families.
There are 2,500 babies killed every day in this country because they were unwanted, because people had sex that weren't ready to be parents with people they didn't want to actually be with.
People have used contraception and it's failed. It's not because they weren't.
Exactly.
So they have to have options. If they don't want the baby, they do everything in their power to not have to have it. If that's their choice.
But why should children have to die because adults just want to live?
They're just cells before they're born as a baby.
You're just cells right now.
Okay. Cool.
What?
But you have a right to live, and the child has a right to live in the womb.
Sure.
Do you guys want to continue that discussion?
No, it's old. It's done.
Well,
I'm happy to.
Not interested.
Question for the girls. Would any of you date someone who is pro-life?
Yes.
Since we're on the topic.
I guess my question is, what do you mean by pro-life? You mean pro-forced birth? Not interested. If you mean life from womb to the tomb, you care about all degrees. You care about children who are born and have no resources. You care about homeless children. You care about immigrant children. You care about children who don't have protection or provision. Then I'm all about that. But if you
are very good at manipulating language, Nick.
Oh, sure.
You're very, very good at manipulating
That's
language.
What you call it.
But I think
you just did it. Someone asked if you were pro-life or if you would date somebody who's pro-life.
Because pro-life only means pro-forced birth in America.
So that's my point. Pro-forced birth.
Because once a kid is born in America, do we provide resources? Do we have universal health care? Do we provide schooling or daycare for our children? We don't.
Please hold on
once
for a second.
There are
on their
2
own.
million couples waiting to adopt right now.
With the exception,
children could be adopted.
Nick, with the exception of rape, nobody's forcing somebody to give birth. Okay, when people
that's what these laws are.
Stop. Please let me make my point. Please let me make my point.
I can interject.
Yeah, you can, but it's incredibly rude and disrespectful.
It's okay.
No, it's not. It's not okay with me. As long as you continue doing it, I'm going to tell you to stop. People, when people get raped, then you could call it forced birth. Okay. If people choose to have consensual sex, nobody's forcing the birth of that child. They made the choice to have consensual sex, and then the birth happens. What'd you say?
Sex and procreation are 2 different things.
Right, but when somebody has sex, when somebody
can bring life into the world.
Exactly, when somebody has sex, they are risking procreation. So the 2 are obviously intertwined.
By the way, I think the whole framing is so sad. Like I know you're saying that, Chase, because it's like that's the way people think today is, oh, I'm going to have sex and risk procreation. When creating a new human life is so amazing.
Not if you don't have resources, not if you don't have money, not if you don't have support.
The thing is people don't think about the fact that they're risking procreation.
I know.
Which is why we're in the situation we're in.
That's true, but also, what if people chose not to have sex until they were in a relationship publicly with someone they were committed to for life and prepared to have children that might come from that.
We'd have a lot less murdered babies.
I wouldn't have a job.
It would be much.
I would not have a job.